In this video, we will look at the scaffold tool. If you want to install the scaffold tool, it is .NET tool install global Microsoft .NET Scaffold. And when you run it, it is .NET Scaffold. It is a work in progress. We're going to see that in some cases it works okay, in other cases it doesn't work okay. Let me type in here .NET Scaffold. I'm going to choose Aspire, and then I choose database. There are two options here. This is Postgres, this is SQL Server. I want Postgres. It tells me what is the host project. My host project is actually app host, so I want to choose app host. It's asking the worker process. The worker process in Aspire is this service defaults. So I'm going to go to service defaults and choose that. Include pre-release packages. Do you want to use pre-release packages or not? And I say yes, why not? So now it's going to add for me something into my Aspire solution. If you're not familiar with Aspire, I have another example that could be closer to home. We're going to use Scaffold to scaffold pages for Razor pages. Now, if I go back to my project here, you will notice that it didn't add anything. But if you go to your app host, program.cs, it actually orchestrated for me an instance of Postgres. When I say instance, what it's going to do is it's going to automatically start it in a container, give you a name for that process, and you can tie it in with this API service. So the most likely is that we want this API service to use that database. So I can say with reference to this Postgres DB. If I come and start that host process again, so let me go to cd aspire netbc and then app host, and I go .NET watch. The app will start. Oops. Oh yeah, I should say dot. Yes, there's an error. So let's do it again. Here it is. It starts. You can see here, it started a container for Postgres, and it started an instance of the database. So if you go to Docker desktop here, I have Redis running here, and I have Postgres. It just goes and gets you the container, an image. You don't even need to tell it what version, whatever. It goes, gets you that image, puts it in Docker, and it runs. And then when I stop this, it gets rid of those containers. Okay, so what did we just see? We saw the scaffold tool that we can use to scaffold services for our Aspire. But I'll give you something that is perhaps closer to home and how we can use the scaffolding tool with that. I'm not going to use Docker desktop anymore, so I can close this, and I can close this project as well, and all these. I'm going to something totally different. Let me go in here. I have an app called To-Do Star. Let me run this in a terminal window so you can see what it does. .NET watch. And you'll see that this is a standard Razor Pages app. Vanilla. I haven't done anything to it. Now let me open this in VS Code. And in VS Code, you will notice that this app, it uses a database. So I can open this SQLite database, and you can see down here, SQLite Explorer, that it's got a table called to-dos. And it's got 4 to-do items: buy groceries, repair car, visit grandma, do the dishes. If I want to generate the pages automatically, in the past, there was this code generator tool. They've stopped updating this. But I'll show you that this one works. I can generate pages that give me update, delete, create, and so on my to-do list. But for that to work, I need to install these two packages. Okay, so I'm going to go over here, install these two packages, and then I can use this code generator to create for me Razor pages based on the to-do model using this database context class, and put the output in pages, to-do pages. So if I take this and I run it, this is the old way, and it works. But they stopped updating it. So now all these pages are being created for me. So if I want to run it, I can do this. So I can come here and say /to-do pages /index, and it will load for me these new pages that were created using this code generating tool. I can create a new item like fix the garage door, for example. Create, and I said fix the garage door. I can edit it and say it's complete and so on and so forth. This is the old tool. It works. So I'm going to come here and say, okay, the old tool works. I want now to reverse everything. So to reverse everything, what I'm going to do here is under pages, it created for me these 2 pages. I'll delete them. I'll delete this folder and I'm going to go back to where I was before. Notice that I added these packages. I'm going to remove these packages to get back to where I was before. I'm reverting back to where I was. Now I don't have those pages. I'm going to use the scaffolding tool. So I'm going to say .NET Scaffold. This is the new tool. What I want to do is I want to scaffold Razor pages. It says Razor pages empty or Razor pages with entity framework. I want this one, Razor pages with entity framework, because I have a model and I'm talking to a database and all that stuff. So I choose that. So I come here and I say I want to do Razor pages. I want to do Razor pages with entity framework. And then it asks me which project. I only have one project, so that's a no-brainer. And then it's now going to inspect your app and say, for which model do you want me to create the pages? I have this model called To Do. I choose that. And then it says, what is the database context class? It's called application DB context. What about the database? What database are you using? I'm using SQLite. Do you want me to do the CRUD or just the create, the delete? I want to do the CRUD, which is everything. Do you want to include pre-release packages? Why not? So now it's going to do it for me. But you're going to discover that it is not perfect. There are some errors, but it's not hard to fix those errors. So now let's do a .NET build on this thing. And it's going to give me some errors. Let's go into the code. Like there are errors on the code behind. So let's come here and look what it did. It actually created these to-do pages. I should come here and go into Solution Explorer. And let me open up these pages again. Let's look at the code behind for create. You see, one of the errors is this to-do has to be plural. It has to be to-dos. And then down here, wherever it says to-do, it has to be to-dos. So anyways, let me fix these. I fixed all of these, and let me build now. There is one more error here. It is in edit, in line 54. So let me go to edit, line 54. I showed you that there were some bugs in this thing, and I had to fix it. So this new scaffolding tool, it's got its problems. It's not stable yet. Let me run this and see if it's going to work. So if I come here and I say to do pages and /index, there it is. This is done by the scaffolding tool. So let me create a new item here and say buy monthly bus ticket. So it does that. You click on here, it's broke. And I know what the problem there is. There is another problem. You can see now here that it is passing ID equals to 6. But if you go to the edit endpoint, the parameter is something else. So if I take you now to the edit endpoint, it's trying to come here. But this parameter is not ID, it is to do ID. So I need to fix something. So I'll show you what I need to fix here. I should come here, and for these ones, I should make them to do ID, TODO. This has to be like this. So let me restart this. Let me go back to that endpoint. So now if I edit, it works. Buy month bus ticket for visit to Kelowna. Save. And the details works, and so on and so forth. Everything works. And delete works, and I can delete. So we looked at the scaffold tool. Thank you so much.